Hey, we're cooking with gas here on the Jewcast.
Okay, careful using a phrase like that.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery, of a sham, of a mockery, of a travesty, of two mockeries of a sham.
Tradition!
Oh, shut up, Carl! Shut your goddamn Jew mouth! You people are why there's war in the Middle East!
Gekakken von Jan.
Nebbig.
Ver poo-poo-poo.
Vermischt.
Verkackt.
Vertutzt.
Verstonken.
Farted.
Exactly.
You're what Grammy Hall would call a real Jew.
Oh boy, here we go again. It is episode 102 of American Jew.
God, so many episodes already.
We are logging.
And if that's not enough, we also have an amazing Patreon that people could subscribe to, and they should. Patreon.com/American Jew.
Yeah, we got the whole mishpucha over there. You should be checking it out and listening to the extended interviews we got with all of our brethren.
Yeah, and you could become part of our mishpucha.
Yeah.
That means family.
Exactly. We're teaching.
You know who's not in our family anymore and not in the Star Wars family either?
Gina Carano. Say sayonara to her. That's no more Jedi training for her.
No, it turns out anti-Semitism is strong with this one.
Oh, boy. I tell you. It's always fun when you see somebody in the Disney family being ousted because of their anti-Semitic views.
Right, she's getting a lot of slack. She was in season 2 of The Mandalorian. I think she was in an episode of season 1 too, but now she's kaput. She's out.
Yeah,
because of some of her tweets.
Well, so apparently, she was warned a number of times. Apparently, for a lot of her right-wing views, she was sort of anti-mask. She was anti-vax, anti-vaccination. So she posted a lot of these views, and recently posted a TikTok video where she compared what's happening in our current political climate to Nazi Germany.
Right. She kind of said something about how, like, before the Nazis attacked the Jews, they got, like, their neighbors to turn against them and even children to beat them up. And that's the same thing that's happening in our political climate today.
Yeah, right. I mean,
like turning each other, liberal and conservatives, against each other. Took a lot of slack. We've talked about this on the podcast before. Don't be comparing shit to the Holocaust.
Yeah. And personally, I got to say, I would have actually found it to be a more compelling argument had she actually compared things to the Star Wars universe, which I feel like has elements of Judaism in it. Like the Empire basically are wearing Nazi uniforms. I mean, Darth Vader's helmet.
She didn't have to bring Judaism into it all.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Like she's used a Star Wars reference. Then that would have been like tying into what she's doing. She would have been plugging her own show and speaking politically about her dumb views. Apparently,
I feel like she could have expressed the same views and been on brand.
Yeah. So people do not like when you compare things to the Holocaust, to Nazis. A lot of false equivalencies. It kind of takes away from what happened to 6 million Jews, 11 million people. What she's doing is just kind of perpetuating a little bit anti-Semitism, kind of.
I mean, it's terrible if there's anybody out there like, I can't believe they're putting so much of a spotlight on Baby Yoda, and they're not talking about the damn Jews.
Right?
I mean,
got to get the Jew power too,
right?
Not just Baby Yoda's power.
Yoda helps bridge the gap between Judaism and pop culture. Anyway, like he's basically rabbinical in some ways. I mean, there are all these things about how Yoda is. A lot of his sayings are, rooted in. There's almost a religious bent to the way that the Jedi speak and the balance of the universe.
Okay, right. Yoda has a very rabbinical cadence.
Yeah. Pretty sure Frank Oz is Jewish.
That is the voice and the puppeteer behind Yoda for those that aren't huge nerds like us. And he's also Miss Piggy. He was, a collaborator with Jim Henson. Yep,
he was Miss Piggy. He's more than half the Muppets. He's Fozzie Bear. He's Grover. He's a lot of the Muppets.
And he's, the original Yoda as well. But anyways, he hasn't said any anti-Semitic things. Unlike this woman, I don't know why she's comparing, what's happening between liberals and conservatives to Nazis and Jews. But anyways, apparently she has really warped perception of the world and her views in general.
I think maybe she spent too much time in the wrestling world and she's just too comfortable being the foil.
Is that it? Did she get hit in the head one too many times? Apparently she's also against pronouns, and she listed in her social media bio, beep, bop, boop. And of course, and also she, was spreading misinformation about whole voter fraud and all that bullshit. I guess she's a Trumper, and she got canceled.
Yeah, her character on The Mandalorian, Cara Dune, was sort of a badass, and it was fun to see. I'm looking forward to seeing who they replace her with, whether or not it's somebody that they recast the character, or whether or not they just bring a new badass chick into.
There's already a lot of pretty badass chicks going on, so
yeah.
But sure. Get rid of her, whatever. Stop doing that, people. Everyone's got to stop comparing shit to the Holocaust.
Exactly.
The only person that should be talking about the Holocaust is Steven Spielberg.
That's right. That's where I get my Holocaust remembrance from. He was just awarded the what they call the Jewish Nobel, the Genesis Prize.
Genesis is called.
Yeah,
the Genesis Prize. He was awarded for what he's done, for Holocaust awareness, for his philanthropy work involving, Jewish charities and non-Jewish charities, and of course for his incredible body of work as a filmmaker. So that's good that he won this award. Big fan. I played Spielberg in a short film a couple months ago.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. So I'm glad Spielberg won this.
Yeah, I feel like it's funny that how did he not win this already?
Right? That's what I didn't understand either. I'm like, how has he not already won this? Natalie Portman apparently had won it, and apparently she didn't show up to the award prize because she didn't want to have anyone think that she was showing any support to Netanyahu, which made me like Natalie Portman so much more when I read that. Good to see someone from the Star Wars universe doing something that we approve of.
Exactly. Well, I'll say this, I it's just weird that Spielberg hadn't won this already, because I feel like his name is the one that would come up in any one of those conversations. They probably couldn't. He probably wasn't available to come pick up the award. That's probably why they didn't give it to him yet. Like every time they,
he's not going to pick it up this year either because of everything that's happened with COVID.
Right, but that's the year that you get him, because he's never available. So this year no one's available. So finally they can give it to Spielberg. But I have to imagine that's a name that would come up every fucking year. Like, oh, who do we give this famous Jewish award to? How about Spielberg? No, he won't make it.
Spielberg, for those who don't know, he is the founder of the Shoah Foundation that interviews tons of survivors and witnesses to the Holocaust, and even to more recent genocides like the mass killings in Cambodia or Armenia and Rwanda. So Spielberg does some really great work. He works with a lot of charities, incredible filmmaker. I know he's sparked my imagination. He's been an inspiration to me. Give him more awards, I think. The Jewish Nobel Peace Prize, I didn't even know that there was one, but let him have it.
I think, this is just a recognition that Schindler's List is not the even close to the largest part of his contribution to Jewish culture and Jewish philanthropy. Congrats to Spielberg.
Go Spielberg. Love Spielberg. Other people that have won the award, Michael Bloomberg, Michael Douglas, violinist Itzhak Perlman, and New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft, and they gave a special award to Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
All right. Well, what else is going on? There's still anti-Semitism popping up. I sent you that article about the Jewish fraternity at the California Polytechnic Institute in San Luis Obispo, California. They had
I saw that. That's horrible.
Yeah, swastikas and other anti-Semitic statements were
bullshit. Stop with the goddamn swastikas. All these
spray painted on the outside of the.
Can't you do some graffiti that doesn't involve Jew hate?
The AE Pie House got defaced, and while there's an investigation happening, this is not the first time that this school has been in the news. It was in the news in 2018. Because they made a statement that they were increasing funding to all student groups except those with a, quote, Zionist ideology.
So you think that was like fanning the flames for them to think it's acceptable for this kind of behavior?
I think it goes out of its way to punish certain ideology. And, by doing so, you give people that are against that same ideology, license to do these kinds of things, I would think. I mean, that's what I think, yeah.
I think these are just idiot kids in a frat that are just fucking dumb and drunk and, being idiots and probably think they're funny or whatever, and they're not, That's kind of what I think.
Well,
Because like we've talked about before, there is a difference between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. So I could see maybe the university wanted to, be sensitive to any Palestinian students or to the Palestinian cause. And by saying, we're giving money to pro-Zionist organizations, it kind of doesn't do that. But, nonetheless, these kids are fucking idiots. You know who's not a fucking idiot? Can we switch this to someone positive?
Sure.
This woman, Lisa Colton is her name, and she started this big, bold Jewish climate festival, which I think is great, trying to get Jews more involved in caring about the climate and the environment, which is a great thing. And I think it involves a lot of Jewish values that perhaps, because a lot of Jews kind of just have this, like, it's in God's hand, whatever happens will happen. But I think being more proactive and caring about the environment and wanting to make sure that future generations of Jews and non-Jews have a planet and have a good future is a good thing, and it's in line with like some Jewish values and traditions, and I think this is a great thing that she's doing.
I agree. I think she's doing it this year on the
Tu B'Shvat?
Yeah, Tu B'Shvat, which is like the anniversary of planting trees.
Right. We've talked about this before. A lot of the Jews around the harvest, they are involved with the land. And taken from the land. So, what she wants to do is she wants to make climate change a central moral issue for the Jewish community. And it should be. It should be an issue for everybody.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's interesting that she went out of her way to do it as a festival and not as like a conference. It's not all about sitting and listening to people lecture you about stuff. It's about connecting and interacting. And having,
she wanted to try to do a positive thing. I mean, we should get involved with this for next year.
Yeah, she had over 160 different events that had music and comedy and different conversations about solar energy and racial justice and youth activism. And, I think it's interesting that she brought a lot of different perspectives to the table. And in addition to organizing she calls it the Big Bold Jewish Climate Festival, she also last year put together the Great Big Jewish Food Festival, which, we're always
like the Jewish festival queen over here.
But, you and I always talk about how the food is sort of one of the things that really anchors us to our Jewish
community. We love the food. It's like our comfort food for us. It's something like we grew up on and we enjoyed, and it's been a part of our lives. But, I'd go to a Jewish food festival. Yeah, we should be speakers at the Jewish Food Festival.
Yeah, we should. I agree. We should be on there. We should be talking with our mouths full.
Definitely. So, we got to talk to this lady. Maybe we'll try to get her on the show. Love what she's doing. Climate change needs to be a priority for everybody. And I think, what's good for humanity is good for the Jews. And what's good for the Jews is good for humanity.
And on a final note, we should talk, I guess, a little bit about the current Shonda happening. We got the impeachment.
Oh, Shonda!
We got the impeachment part 2 coming right now.
Right. So it's going on right now. Trump's lawyer is an Orthodox Jew.
Right, and he had them change the rules so that they wouldn't have to have court during Shabbat.
But first, he said he wanted to do that, and then he took it back, and then he changed his mind about it, from what I understood.
Well, his lawyers are not particularly
His lawyers
competent.
are a shit show. And then he usually wears a yarmulke, but he wasn't wearing a yarmulke for the impeachment. But anytime he took a drink of water, he would put his hand on his head to cover it, which apparently isn't like a thing. Like, you can't use your hand to as a replacement for a head covering. So I don't know what he's doing, but I guess he's trying to project that he's an Orthodox Jew. A lot of Orthodox Jews love Trump. I know the article that you sent me over, Jordan, I thought had such a great perspective of it, and something we talked about, where Jewish values do not line up to Donald Trump. And you might like some of the stuff Trump did for Israel. You might like some of the stuff Trump does for your wallet. But when it comes down to it, Trump isn't in line with Jewish values. He incites anti-Semitism. He almost encourages it. And it's crazy that, so many Orthodox Jews and religious Jews support him. It's crazy that this religious lawyer decided to take up his case and represent him and wants to bring Judaism into it, being like, oh, he can't do things on Saturday. He wants to cover his head. Yet he is going to represent a man who caused an insurrection at the Capitol and caused the death of 5 people, which is like pretty not in line with anything Jewish.
Yeah, it's You know, they're
and apparently he's a shitty lawyer too. I haven't been watching it, but I hear he's doing a horrible job.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's really no legitimate defense against what, you know. It turns out that giving the Democratic side a couple extra weeks to prepare, maybe not the best idea, because they have come very prepared. Even Trump's lawyers started out by saying, hey, those guys, that was good.
Yeah, so this guy thought he was like showing goodness of Judaism, and he was, making Judaism look good, but what he was really doing is making him look bad. They call, in the article, they referred to what he's doing as a Chilul Hashem, which is kind of like reflecting poorly from Jews on the world.
You know, it's just shameful that, they're trying to, basically the argument is no matter how damning the evidence is, this whole trial is unconstitutional and we shouldn't even be having it. So, you can show us how badly he should be in jail, but, he's exempt is essentially his whole presidency
argument was made up of bullshit, excuses from, voter fraud to blaming things on Obama that weren't true, to taking credit for things that Obama did. So, he's full of it. Unfortunately, he might not get convicted for this impeachment. I know Georgia now prosecutors have opened up a criminal investigation into him trying to overturn the election results there. Twitter came out, they're banning Trump forever. They're never letting him back. So it's so crazy that anyone's on his side, especially Jewish people.
It's so disappointing to see this.
I love that in the article you sent, they compared to him even to false gods or some verse in the Bible where like Jews went along with something that they shouldn't, and it's true. That's what I always say. I always say he's like the golden fucking calf.
Yeah, the article says they argue that Trump has been a messenger of God, but I see him as the essence of false prophecy about which Jeremiah warned, quote, they speak visions of their own minds, not from the mouth of the Lord.
Boom! Boom! That what he said.
Yeah.
What Jeremiah said, and he wasn't just a bullfrog.
Exactly. Well, that's why it's so disappointing to see these lawyers going out, like this guy going out of his way to just sort of send a signal to Orthodox Jews that might be watching. Hey, look, I'm a Jew. You should, be listening to what I'm saying because I'm a Jewish man. Meanwhile, there's also some pretty learned Jewish scholars on the Democratic side as well. Representative Raskin, who's laying out all the defense, who's heading up the prosecution, is exemplary. I would say.
Well, that's good. And this guy just trying to putting a hand on his head like a yarmulke. Like, well, maybe you need to be rubbing your belly with your other hand while you're putting your hand on your head, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Trump,
Turns out that's his skill, not being a lawyer. Litigation, not his biggest his biggest skill. It's patting his head and rubbing his stomach at the same time.
Well, he is not a good representation of Jews, and but anyways, Trump's in the past. Whether he gets impeached, whether he gets convicted, whatever happens, he is scum.
Guys.
You know who's not scum?
I know. I'm so excited.
Our guest. I absolutely adore our guest. Incredibly talented comedian, like beyond one of the best, I think. In New York. I love him. Good friend. Super psyched to have Tyler Fischer on the show. Let's get him.
Yeah, let's have the man himself. Here he comes. Hello, sir.
Hi, hello. Hello, Jonathan. Hello, Jordan.
Hello, Tyler. How are you?
I'm a little verklempt, but it's good to be here.
I know. I feel like you look super Jewish right now, Tyler.
Well, I'm typically napping from 12:30 to 7 o'clock, so this is quite of an inconvenience for me. I know I should just curl these things, right?
You can curl them and pop them over your ears.
Oh my God! Oh, is that how they do it? Oh God!
Oh my gosh! There, you're ready. We got to get a screenshot of this.
Oh my God!
That's hilarious.
There we go. Now I own my building.
Well, great to see you, buddy.
Anyways, we just got right into it, but we're super excited to have a comedian, friend of Jews, lover of Jewish women, Tyler Fischer on the show.
I do love Jewish women.
And Tyler does an amazing Woody Allen impression too, by the way.
I'm not going to do it. I told you not to put me on the spot, leave it to a Jew to put a Jew on the spot. It's you're giving me an existential crisis, John. You really are. Yeah, these glasses really do it. I don't know what it is, but
You think it's the glasses, huh?
They do. They bring out and the beard.
And just a little bit of.
Tyler, do you remember when you first learned about Jews?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Yeah, I do remember, and you know, I of course thought it was all a hoax for about 30 years until I got the DNA test back, because I found out I am part Jewish on 23andMe, which if you didn't know was also the dating app that Woody Allen's been using.
Nice.
Very
I
good.
don't know. I don't know if I remember when Jew came into my consciousness.
Were you were brought up with any religion?
I was brought up. Yeah, I was brought up, I guess, Methodist. But I've never. I think I had ADD. I think that was a problem. I couldn't focus in church, so I would just wander off and sit in the bathroom, and then, you know, the obvious thing happened. My priest shot and killed himself at the altar, and then we stopped. And then we stopped going to church because like it was like a haunted house after that. So that
Right.
I thought you were joking for a second, but you're being
no,
real.
that really happened.
Wow, that must have been some sermon.
This guy knew how to close out a sermon. Let me tell you.
Thank God. I'm sorry. I'll put more on the collection plate.
Wow, that's heavy.
Well,
How
I
old
know,
were you when that happened?
I was probably like 9 or 10, and I felt like it was my response. Like I thought it was my fault because I was like, "How bad was the blowjob?"
I should have let him molest me. No.
You know, you're just sitting there like, man, and I thought I hated coming to church.
Yeah, I was like, you know, I thought I made him come, but I guess it was so bad he blew his fucking brains out.
Oy.
Yeah, it was just the Holy Spirit.
So that was it. My parents couldn't get me to church after that because I'm like, he didn't do it while we were in church was in session, but I imagine blood was just splattered. I couldn't. It was too fucking weird for a kid to go back and listen about Easter Bunny or whatever they talk about.
Wow. Did they tell you a lot that Jesus was a Jew?
I think they left that part out. I think most people leave that part out.
Well, no, the Jews. Jews. We like to claim him as one of our own. We always bring that up. You know, Jesus was a Jew, one of ours.
Doesn't come up in the. I don't think that comes up. Because they want to claim him, right?
We do.
Well, I mean, he's one of us, but then I guess he becomes one of you. I mean, no, he's always Jewish. He doesn't convert. He doesn't get does he get a baptism or something? I mean,
yeah, he slowly converted over. Like the skin got lighter.
I mean, they even tried to give him a baptism, straighter. But he wouldn't go in water. He just floated right above it.
Yeah, he just kept floating up.
It's like, that's how Jewish I am.
Yeah, I never knew that. I never knew he was a Jew until later in my life.
No. When was the first time you started? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small town outside of New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay. So not a lot of Jews in that area?
My best friend was half Jewish, so I did grow up with the essence of it, you know. The dad would go out and get bagels. He was a real New York Queens Jew. So that's really all I knew was you know, he would drive with the windows open and had the jacket, and he was just a very tense, you know, Queens, you know, road rage, even in a small town. That's what I thought of was this guy.
Did you go to any of their holidays? Did they do any of the Jewish holidays that you got to be witness to?
Yeah. Well, they circumcised me once at a sleep.
That must have been a crazy sleepover.
Yeah. Yeah, we did the.
Not only did Billy's dad touch it, he cut a little piece off it.
Yeah. Maybe that's how the Jews got away with molesting kids. Was they go, no, it's for you know.
You know, I like molestation, but I'm going to save a little for later.
Yeah, that's that's extreme pedophilia. It's
Jews love leftovers.
let me just get a little sandwich bag and take it home. He's got a little drawer with all the kids' names on it. Yeah, no, we did do some holidays, and then my dad dated a Jew, and I remember this was before we found out we were Jewish, and I come home and there's a menorah on the fireplace, and I was like, what is this shit? You know, he just started putting it's the guy he was dating, and he would set up all these Hanukkah things so that when he came over, he felt good. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it one bit.
Okay. I like that. Was like throughout the year? Was it this at only Hanukkah time, or it's just like, I got to make the whole house more Jewish? He just started putting menorahs around and dreidels, and the guy's like, it's not all fucking Hanukkah, buddy.
Yeah, every weekend he'd go around and yeah.
Got to Jew up the house.
Exactly. But I remember being very angry. Me and my brothers, like, we didn't like the idea of like his religion or holidays encroaching on our house. I was very upset. I probably threw it outside, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You're like, this isn't a hate crime. You're just like, I'm just not into this relationship.
Yeah, it was probably more about that. I mean, yeah. It was, he's dating, my dad is a gay man, so it was probably also part of like, it was a little deeper than the Jew thing, but I masked it all in anti-Semitism.
I'm not homophobic. I'm anti-Semitic.
Yeah, I was masking my homophobia and anti-Semitism.
Get it straight.
Yeah.
You know, I asked you when you learned about Jews, because I'm always curious, like when non-Jewish people, like when they first like get awareness of it, and like what do they think? Because Jews are like so hated around the world. There's all these misconceptions of Jews. So I'm always curious, like when people, like I remember when I was a kid and I first was like finding out about Christmas and like trying to understand Christianity. My parents, of course, were just like, it's bullshit, like Jesus was a Jew, whatever, Santa's not real. But I always wonder, like, what non-Jewish kids' parents are telling them when they're like, hey, why are those people wearing those weird hats?
Yeah, I mean, I mostly hated it because the Jews were fucking my dad, and my family actually got fucked by Jews early on, and that meant less time going to the movies and doing fun stuff with your dad. So that was my beef. It was definitely odd to me, like all the little. There's just a lot of like trinkets and stuff at these dinners, a lot of dipping and waiting, and like that was weird to me. In my house, it was like the food came on the table, you started eating. So I didn't like the idea of waiting and praying, and there's an egg and some vinegar or whatever you got. Yeah, or
right,
whatever.
On Passover.
Something with an egg, salt water.
Yeah, you're talking about the Passover.
That's
Seder.
it. Yeah, because we would do that. For my dad's boyfriend, we would have to do Passover at my house.
Oh my gosh! Wow, your dad must have really been into this guy.
Oh yeah.
I won't even do Passover for my real dad.
Yeah, and as like a 10-year-old who's never heard of any of this, it was torture. Wow. So it was less about Jews and more about having ADD, I guess.
I'll tell you. I'll say
this.
It's
a good sitcom though. My dad's gay Jewish boyfriend.
All those types of things are torture for kids. I think when I'm 9-10 years old, when I had to go to Seder, I wanted to get to the food also, like doing all the prayers and the waiting and
right.
It's
yeah, we were slaves in Egypt. I get it. Pass the brisket.
Exactly. As you become an adult, I learned to appreciate Passover more because you get good and drunk while you wait for the food. So.
Yeah, well, they shove it down your throat, which is what my priest did to me, starting at an early age. But I think they could tweak it a little bit for kids, But
did you ever witness any anti-Semitism, Tyler?
Today on this podcast.
How about before?
Never before today.
That's good.
Oh, have I? I don't think it was like real anti-Semitism. I think sometimes this part of the podcast will be clipped out and used against me, but I think people are collectively okay shitting on Hasidic Jews.
Yeah, I mean, we do that on the show all the time.
Yeah. So that's always interesting to me because I'll hear some woke comedian go up and it's all equality, and then they'll be like, "But the Hasidic Jews, we've all driven through Williamsburg," and the whole crowd is on board, and it's like, wait a minute, it's like humans have to have. There always has to be one group that's being shit on, and that's become the group in New York. So I hear stuff like that all the time at comedy clubs.
Nothing like growing up, I always picture like these moments in like the movies where like they're like one kid's being like racist or anti-Semitic to other kids, and then there's like a kid in the back. He's like, "Should I say something? Like, what should I?" Like, he doesn't know. Like, go along. Like, I always wonder if like people, non-Jewish like kids, have had those kinds of experiences.
I don't think kids know enough about it to even have it be true anti-Semitism.
I mean, it's one of those things that, like, if you are around people that are anti-Semitic as a child, like adults that say that stuff, kids kind of parrot that a little bit. That's probably where you would see anything like that. I don't know how extreme it gets to the point now, like, in today's society, or even while we were growing up, that was similar to the attitudes expressed in that movie. What is it? School Ties with Brendan Fraser.
Oh, I got his high five. He Jewed him down.
Oh, I never saw that.
Oh my gosh, great movie. Brendan Fraser, Matt Damon at the end. Matt Damon goes to him, he goes, in a couple years from now, everyone will forget this will ever happen, but you'll always be a dirty Jew.
Whoa.
And then Brendan Fraser goes to him, and you'll always be a prick or something, and that's like the end of the movie.
Holy shit. That's how the relationship with my dad's boyfriend ended, too. Interesting. Yeah, I always wonder, what's the actual percentage of actual racism versus, like you said, Jordan, parroting or maybe using a stereotype in a joke or something. You know what I mean? I always wonder what, like I've never met someone who's actually full-blown racist, who actually wishes there's racial segregation. And I don't know have you guys? I mean, I'm just wondering where these people are who are actually like would be happy to kill a Jew or a black person.
Oh,
I mean, I
Trump
think
rallies.
Yeah, Trump rallies.
Well,
I don't know. I think we're at a place now where it's unfortunate that some people are saying the quiet parts out loud, but I think for the most part, people that actually think that stuff are usually not as vocal about it. They think about it, but they don't act on it.
Well, they are vocal, but they hide. They're vocal, but they're anonymous. They do it on the internet, They hide behind like an avatar or nothing, or just like user 137946. When I post videos, it's amazing. When I get anti-Semitic comments and shit, it's usually from like user 495. It's always from someone that doesn't want to like say who they are, have a picture in their profile.
Can you stop saying my username on the podcast? That's a private account.
Yeah, this is all a big trap. We're doxing you here.
Tyler, did you have a lot of Holocaust awareness growing up?
Yeah, we learned about it in school. I think they can go a little further with teaching it in school. I think it's really important to know exactly what happened, and that it just happened, and that it could happen again. And I didn't start learning about that until listening to a psychologist who I don't even want to say he's controversial, because in the scheme of things, he's not based on the size of his following, but Jordan Peterson, who teaches about the Holocaust in psychology courses so that people understand if they were in Nazi Germany, they wouldn't have been hiding Jews in their closet. They would have taken part in it. Like 99% of people today would have done the same thing. And that's when I really started to pay attention and to become very interested in learning about what happened in the Holocaust and exactly how it got to that point.
It's crazy.
So probably over the last 3 years. Yeah, over the last 3 years, I became obsessed with studying history, Nazi Germany, Maoist China and communist Soviet Russia, all that stuff, because we're like, there's little hints of it now, and you go, wait a minute, this is how it started. The identity politics stuff, if that gets out of control,
yeah,
then you justify wiping out entire groups of people.
Absolutely.
What percentage of Jewish did 23andMe reveal to you?
Well, it's funny. in a joke that I put out, I say 50% just because I needed to say that for the joke. I said I asked for I found out I was 50% Jewish on 23andMe, and I know it was accurate because I immediately asked for 50% of my money back. But it's almost and then I started getting booked on all these Jewish gigs. Like I would get a corporate Zoom show and I would sign on, and it's all a yeshiva college or a temple, and I'm going, what the fuck? And then they'll tell me, oh yeah, we know you. We heard you're 50% Jewish, so we booked you. So it's 12.5% is the actual number. But,
right. But for you, 50, I can.
For me, to perform for you.
Do they know?
That's great. I love it how he's like, I'm telling people I'm Jewish to get more gigs.
How much Woody Allen material do you really have?
Exactly. But it was funny because I just then I would start to make fun of people, I would tell kind of Jewish jokes and everyone loved them because it was just negging, but suddenly I was in the club. It was great. And I was making money.
You grew out the beard. You're welcome. That's all it takes.
But what happened? 12%. I really should start showing up to these gigs just, hello, hi. Hello.
I wonder what they would think if they logged on and you were looking like that. That'd be hilarious.
But what happened was my grandfather, he was a very short, stout guy. His brother was 6 feet tall, dark features. And there was the running joke about, she slept with the milkman or the mailman or whatever. Turns out his mom did have an affair with a guy from Eastern Europe, 100%. He was Ashkenazi Jew. So that all just came out a few years ago. So that made my grandfather half Jewish, my dad 25, and me the 12.5%.
Okay, hey, did you call up your dad's ex-Jewish gay boyfriend and be like, turns out we're a little bit Jewish this whole time. It wasn't for you, motherfucker.
Break out the menorah. Yeah. I got them back together. Yeah.
We've been overpaying for milk for too long now.
Exactly. Yeah.
You get back on that and get that discount.
And if anybody was anti-Semitic in my family, it was my uncle. So my dad was very excited to call him and tell him that he was a Jew.
Oh, that's going to be nice. That's awesome. Wow. I kind of want this job now that I don't think there is a job, but I want to call anti-Semites and let them know that they are Jewish.
Yes.
I mean, it wouldn't change.
Would that be?
Wouldn't change much. They just end up being a self-hating Jew.
Still, I mean, I'd love to see them work for 23andMe and just Zoom them and be like, hey, guess what? You're Jewish.
What? Yeah.
My aunt take off their fucking plaid outfit and throw it on the floor.
I think my aunt refused to accept it. She said, no, that's not true. We're German, and that's that. We had
very German of her.
We had, yeah. Das ist,
exactly.
Das ist richtig. She was like, nein.
She wouldn't even let us hide in her basement.
Oh my God. Yeah. So we had very deep German roots, attached to this German Fischer name. And then turns out we're not related to the Fischers at all. So I'm a Landorf.
Go for
Landorf. I come from a long line of Landorfs, which kind of sounds like
a little more mystical, right? And magical, like the Landorfs. Welcome to Landorfia.
It's kind of fitting for we're all very tiny, hairy Jews. The Landorf. It sounds like dwarf. It's
you're the less popular brother of Gandalf.
Exactly. Yeah. The funnier comedic version of him. So.
How are the Jewish shows that you've done, Tyler? Do you find that there's a difference between predominantly Jewish audiences and more mixed audiences or non-Jewish audiences?
Obviously, the Holocaust jokes land differently. It pays less. No, I did a college show that was really rough, but I think that was just a bunch of kids locked in their dorms, probably severely depressed. So,
right.
But the temple show I did was so fun.
You had a good time.
Had a great time. Yeah.
Did anybody try to set you up after with their Jewish daughter?
I was kind of hoping that would happen. I put my social media handle in to see maybe that would happen. Not yet, but
not yet. Okay.
At this point,
still hopes.
Is that still popular, the setup?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh no, it's definitely a thing.
Jewish mothers love it, right?
Maybe that 12.5% is just not high enough to start getting the real offers.
I think you can get on J Swipe with 12.5.
But don't they find out that my mom's not Jewish, so it doesn't count, like, religiously, I guess?
I mean, it depends what people think. Here on the American Jew Podcast, we like to think if you want to be Jewish, be Jewish. 12.5 can still get you a free trip to Israel on Birthright.
That's true.
So, I mean, if you like it, you like it. I mean, we're not of the belief that, like, oh, no, your mom's not Jewish, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, why don't they have a dating app where it's just Jewish moms just setting you up with people?
Oh, they do.
They do?
There's like several of them now. Yeah, there's like at least 2 different dating apps that your mother picks out the person.
You can't even have a good comedic premise anymore because everything exists.
Yeah.
Someone in the crowd
Tyler was already writing a bit. He's like, I got the sketch idea. We're doing it. He's ordering a fucking Jewish woman's wig right now on Amazon, and then we're like, sorry, they already have that. We thought of everything.
Ted Alexandro's out here, claiming SNL stole his joke. I'm sure there's people that have put jokes into their dating profiles, and now it's a whole different app somebody's making money off of.
That's true. Yeah, that's a tricky one, the joke stealing, because there's so much out there.
Do you do a Ted Alexandro impression? I feel like with this beard, you could really get away with a Ted Alexandro
That's
impression.
A great idea. I'm going to work on that. I usually can't do impressions very well out of the gate.
Because you've got the bald cap, right?
Tyler does an amazing Bill Burr impression. He does all amazing impressions.
I loved seeing Bill Burr's reaction to your impression.
Yeah, it didn't even seem real to me because it's like it's been such a long time coming. And I did his reaction on his pod. I pretended to be him reacting like a year or 2 ago. Right. So people kind of already thought he reacted. So when he finally did, it didn't even really register to me yet.
Did he? I know in the video that I guess I saw that Bill was watching on, I guess, one of his podcasts or something, you're starting off doing like a German impression and then you're going into Bill Burr. Did Bill think you were German? Because when he's talking about it, he's like, I just thought this German guy.
Yeah, that's what makes it even funnier is he thinks I'm a German guy because the idea was like, all right, let me try one more Bill Burr impression, but I'll try to trick people into thinking I do this. It's just like a gay German guy, and he lives in a small town, and then he could just break into impressions like that, right out of fucking nowhere. He's fucking brutal. And that's the one that Bill Burr's wife saw and showed him. It got and at the time it had like 100 views on YouTube. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. So yeah, now he thinks I'm a gay German guy who does an impression of him, which is even better, I guess.
And that is better. That's hilarious, and that just speaks to your talent.
Yeah, it's very meta. Someone said.
That's like, amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is meta. So
great, even though it's German. But hey, you really are owning that German side of you.
Yeah, das ist gut.
So Tyler's a bit of a ladies' man. Do you find that there's a difference between Jewish women and non-Jewish women?
Yeah, I think so. God.
I mean, have you dated a lot of Jewish women?
I've dated some. Yeah. The one girl I was really in love with was Jewish, but I don't want to make any sweeping claims about what Jewish women are like because I haven't dated enough of them. But she definitely had a sternness to her. And I'm not sure if that's Jewish because I've dated Puerto Rican women who had that similar kind of jolt, Did
you go to her families for any of those holidays? Did you go to a Passover Seder with her as an adult?
No. She, I don't even think she told her family we were dating. So she was kind of hiding me in the attic for some reason. I think because her family wanted her to date a Jew. So she was, I believe, afraid to tell her family that she was dating a non-Jew because I didn't know yet about the 12.5%.
Right.
He's 12.5 Jewish. I mean, his dick's Jewish, so that's enough.
Yeah.
You could have just shown up and done your Woody Allen impression all night and it would have accepted you. Excuse me, darling. I don't mean to be facetious or didactic in any manner, but this is delicious.
Yeah. To quote Freud, these mashed potatoes are, lifeless, really. Yeah.
I like how you said, kept you in the attic because I guess I don't know if people use that phrase, but what is the phrase for having a Jewish lover or partner that you can't show your family or tell your family about or let your family know that he's Jewish because then they won't accept him? It should be keeping him in the attic.
Yeah, keeping me in the. Yeah, I came out of the attic. It's like coming out. You know, I'm a Jew. I came out of the attic.
I like this. We got to get this going more.
I'm claiming
like
that.
The zeitgeist of
I'm copywriting that right now.
Yeah.
So I came out of the attic, and now the family knows, and she's not in their will anymore.
Yeah. Did you hear? Tyler came out of the attic. Oh, we've known for years. Are you kidding me? We've seen his act. So I guess she was doing the opposite, like anti-racism. It was like anti-Semitism for being embarrassed to have a non-Jew in a relationship. And ultimately, I think she, started dating. She was on a dating app, and she was like, she matched with some guy from Israel. At one point, she's like, I think we should start dating, have an open relationship.
Uh-oh.
And then I found out she was talking to like a Jew from Israel that lived in Israel. So I think that
you started dating a Palestinian girl.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think that family pressure may have influenced the end of our relationship. Also, she was a big whore, but who's to say which?
It was definitely one or the other.
It was one or the other. I don't know which.
We have some questions we like to ask all our guests. Tyler, wrapping up. Do you have a favorite Jewish holiday?
Favorite Jewish holiday?
We learned it's not Passover.
I think it's Hanukkah because Christmas, Hanukkah. It felt like those two holidays overlap in a good way. Yeah.
I mean, they happen at the same time. They kind of have some similar themes.
Yeah.
I mean, Hanukkah, we've discovered it kind of grew to what it was because of Christmas, to compete with Christmas almost.
Right. And it failed, obviously. But
do you have a favorite Jewish food?
Favorite Jewish food is I recently got into bagels with lox, which I had never had. I'd been afraid of the smoked fish for a long time. And probably because of Curb Your Enthusiasm, they're always fighting about white fish and smoked fishes and stuff. And I don't know. But I recently had a bagel with lox, and I was so mad at my Jewish friends for never forcing me to eat it.
It is amazing. They're delicious.
There's been plenty of times when I've gone out to breakfast with the Jew, and never they don't. Oh, I insist. I wish there was more insisting that I try it.
We only insist with the salmon is just more expensive. So when if it's a lighter snack that's not as expensive, we insist. But when we're paying for our own salmon, okay,
that's it. Yeah,
well, you gotta go to Russ and Daughters and try their pastrami lox.
Okay, yeah, and where's
really
that?
Good.
Where's
you
that?
Love it. Russ and Daughters. It's on Houston Street. One of Anthony Bourdain's 11 places to eat before you die, and they have amazing smoked fish. Their white fish is to die for.
Did he make that list right before he killed himself?
A couple of years before he killed himself.
Oh, okay, all right. I didn't know if that
wasn't like his suicide note.
Oh.
I'm glad I ate at these places before.
We're like, we should have seen it coming.
Tyler, do you have a favorite Jew? It could be someone from the Bible. It could be someone in entertainment. It could be someone from history. Someone in your life. Anybody.
Oh, Larry David.
That's a good one.
Larry David. Yeah. I mean, I watched. I think he makes me want to exploit my 12.5% because there's something about the way he emotes and exaggerates that it's not just because he's Jewish. He's a funny actor, but you can't help but look at him and not separate the two.
Right. He has a very Jewish sensibility.
Yeah, and he exploits it, it's a lot of, pretty good.
Yeah, he definitely leans into it.
Yeah, I love him.
Tyler, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yes, I have a stand-up comedy special that's free.
Oh boy!
And it's on YouTube, and it's called Man Boy Unit. It's about Well, that joke's about me being so small that I can catch pedophiles if a pedophile sees me from the back. So yeah, it's called Man Boy Unit. It's on YouTube. If you just search Man Boy Unit, and then on my YouTube page, I've got tons of all my impressions, videos, sketches. I did a sketch with you, Jonathan, about being so addicted to Tinder that we walk up to women and just swipe our hand across their face.
All right, that was a fun sketch.
Yeah. So that's on there. And
yeah, we did a couple sketches together. Check out his Masterclass Bill Burr sketch.
Oh
it's
my
really
God,
good.
That's right. Yeah, you're hilarious in that.
I have a little appearance in that. Trying to millennial it up as much as I can, be as hipster as I can in that.
Your cafe joke. And then my podcast is called The Tyler Fischer Show, and that's all over. And then Patreon is where you pay me and I give you free comedy.
Nice. And
so is it patreon.com/Tyler Fischer?
Tyler Talks.
Tyler Talks.
Yeah.
We'll put Tyler's social media in our comments.
Yeah. I also loved your you had an Instagram with like the with fake signs in the subway.
It was removed.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, that's when I started really worrying about the censorship stuff. That page started to blow up and it disappeared. And they don't have to even tell you why they take a page down in their in the agreement. So that really pissed me off.
Did you write them and be like, what's the deal?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think I heard back.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
because those were great. Those were so funny.
I know, and then I was so mad about that I just stopped doing it.
Yeah.
So I guess censorship works in a way.
No,
one more
you
reason.
Start it again. Put it on TikTok or something.
One more reason
right.
to be angry at the fucking MTA.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Well, great to see you, buddy. We're so happy to be able to connect in these tough times.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
I hope we're so
happy to have you.
I hope I didn't fool you with the 50%, but maybe that got me on the podcast.
Oh no, we just think you're hilarious, and we wanted to have you on the show.
Yeah.
What if maybe I should bump it up to 75, and maybe the gigs will start improving. You know,
you
probably get some more Hasidic gigs.
We'll vouch for you. Put us on the reference list.
Sure. Yeah. I'm gonna go work on this. Maybe I could do that. This is like
work on the payas, and we'll start planning your circumcision.
There's the yarmulke. There it is.
Your bris. Oh, there he goes. Oh my gosh, that is so. Oh my God, you look just like a rabbi I had when I was in Israel.
So yes, as
I'm
Joseph
not even
said.
joking. We gotta get like a screenshot of this. Hold on, don't stop.
This would definitely get me canceled if I had more than 5,000 followers. I think this is gonna resurface. You know this, guys. If I get on SNL or something happens,
I'm gonna use this as like your image when we're promoting the show.
Well, thank you so much. You guys were really wonderful. Really funny. And we'll meet you at Russ and Daughters sometime this week. I'll check with Kathy.
Sounds good. Close then, Tyler.
Auf Wiedersehen. Dankeschön.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Super big thank you to Tyler Fischer to coming on the show. He's hilarious. Check him out. He's on social media at Ty the Fish, and check out his YouTube and his Patreon and everything. He's the best.
And make sure you check out our Patreon while you're over there. I mean, you could sign up and you're going to hear extra footage from this interview we did with Tyler, as well as all the other people we've had on in the past. Make sure you're following us on social media so you can make sure you get all the up-to-date news about our upcoming shows. We're American Jew Podcast across all platforms except on Twitter. We're American Jew Pod. You can follow me on Instagram at Beatnik Nudnik.
And I'm at Jonathan Randall across social media. Thanks for listening, y'all.
L'chaim.